Today's show is Bears top 50 free agent targets, so we're going to ask you this question before we get into it. What is the Bears' biggest need in free agency? Is it receiver? Is it offensive line? Cornerback? Maybe it's something else. I want to know from you guys the Bears' biggest need in free agency. You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, and today's show is presented by Fetch Rewards. Guys, scan your receipts from any retail store, grocery store, restaurant, wherever. All receipts can be scanned with Fetch and start earning points, because then you can convert those points into awards. Get going. Chatsports.com/Fetch. Use our promo code BEARS to get 3,000 bonus points. We'll tell you a little bit more about that app later on in the show. Today's show is those top 50 free agent targets. I was thinking, I'll do 15, 20. I said, screw it. We're going 50. Volume list show today, baby. I'm not going to talk a ton about every single player because we'd be here all day, but just kind of a list of guys to keep in mind as free agency in March is, about 2 months away. I mean, it's going to be here before we know it. All right, not going to worry about quarterback off the top. We'll mention a couple, maybe a running back or two later, but let's start at receiver. I think all 5 of these guys would be good additions. Davante Adams. Obviously, the wild card there is if Aaron Rodgers leaves. If he does, I think he hits free agency. If he stays, I think he re-signs in Green Bay. Chris Godwin. Yes, he tore his ACL, but a healthy Chris Godwin is a perfect fit for Justin Fields. Mike Williams, big physical receiver. Doesn't always get a ton of separation, so that would require more chemistry building, but a young player who can be explosive, a great red zone target. Michael Gallup, great route runner, also tore his ACL, so you got to factor that in, but maybe you get him a little cheaper than you would thought. And then how about OBJ? How about Odell Beckham Jr.? He's playing pretty well with the LA Rams right now, so I think you could get him on the cheaper as well. Those are 5 receivers to keep in mind in free agency. I want to know, should the Bears draft or sign a wide receiver? You could certainly do both, but you at least got to do one of them. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Should the Bears draft or sign a wide receiver? All right, tight end here. Obviously, you got Cole Kmet, but I think after him, it's very up in the air. I would like to bring Jesper Horsted back as a tight end 2 or 3, but I think there are other guys you could target. Zach Ertz, he could be a quality vet to pair with Kmet. That rhymed. Dalton Schultz for the Cowboys. I think he's going to make more money than he probably should, but you could certainly explore that. Mike Gesicki is a good red zone guy. David Njoku had a nice year with the Browns. How about CJ Uzomah? I think he's kind of like Schultz. Someone's going to overpay him, but if that doesn't happen, maybe you could target him in free agency. All right, let's go to the offensive line, and we broke it down 3 categories. Tackle, guard, center. All right, let's start offensive tackle. Terron Armstead. Great left tackle. Obviously, if you sign a big-time left tackle, which Armstead or Brown would qualify, Orlando Brown as well. I don't think you're going to get him, though. I think the Chiefs bring him back, but I did mention him. I don't know if Cam Robinson's big-time, but if you sign him, you probably want him to start. That would probably indicate to me that you move Tevin Jenkins to right tackle, and then Larry Borom kicks inside and plays guard. Maybe he plays right guard. You don't re-sign James Daniels. Riley Reif at right tackle. If you wanted to go right tackle, then kick Borom inside. That would also be an option. Regardless of what you do on the offensive line, there are decisions to be made. Is Tevin Jenkins for sure a left tackle? Is Larry Borom for sure a right tackle? Or is he a left tackle? Or is he a guard? I think he's very versatile. Do you for sure upgrade from Sam Mustipher at center? I believe you do. Do you re-sign James Daniels? Which, by the way, this video does not include internal free agents. This is all external guys. Cody Whitehair, do you try and upgrade that? I mean, there are a lot of decisions. Do you consider bringing Jason Peters back? Probably not. He's very old, but he was pretty good this year. This new GM, that is maybe decision number 2 after Justin Fields and making sure you're on the same page there. Offensive line has to be figured out this offseason. Now, today's show is presented by Fetch, the Fetch Rewards app, guys. You can go download it today at chatsports.com/Fetch. And this app is awesome, and I find myself using it every single day because here's what it does. When you get a receipt from a store, a restaurant, maybe a grocery store, hell, I filled up gas the other day, scanned my receipt, which you can see an example of right here. You start building points, and the more points you build, the more awards you're going to be able to cash out on. You can get Amazon gift cards. You can get gift cards to certain restaurants, a lot of different stores. Your morning coffee, you tired of spending money on Starbucks? You can get some Starbucks gift cards as well. Download the app, start scanning receipts today by going to chatsports.com/fetch. And an even better part of this is you can start with 3,000 bonus points by using our promo code BEARS. That is promo code BEARS when you get started at chatsports.com/fetch. After you scan that first receipt, you're going to have an additional 3,000 points. I'm already up to 5, 6, 7,000 points because, pick up dinner, boom, I get some extra points for scanning my receipt. It's easy, it's free, it's pretty fun too, to be honest. I go home and tell my wife, like, hey, we're getting dinner for free tomorrow night. It's awesome, doesn't cost you a dime. Don't throw those receipts away like you did before. I'm guilty of that. Keep them and then turn them into points, which you can then turn into awards. Chatsports.com/fetch, promo code BEARS. We'll put that link, that promo code down in the comments, into the description. Start racking up those points today. All right, let's go to offensive guard now here on our free agents targets list. Left guard, right guard, a lot of guards can play both. Brandon Scherff, he's the best guard on the market. He's going to cost a lot of money probably, but, you would know that you would have a rock-solid right guard. Laken Tomlinson, another pretty good player that will be a little bit cheaper than Scherff. Andrew Norwell as well. Austin Corbett could be on the cheaper side. And then Connor Williams, who had a bunch of penalties, but for Dallas this year, he is young though. He's probably, on a similar level to a Cody Whitehair, so that could be an option as well. How about centers? Only 3 because there's not a lot of high-quality ones available. Ryan Jensen's the big one. If you're going to spend money at center, that's the guy to do it on. Been with Tampa. Ben Jones, Matt Paradis as well. Quality players. Both would be upgrades from Sam Mustipher, so I think one of those 3 guys could be an option for Chicago. What is the biggest need on the offensive line? Is it center, tackle, or guard? It's hard to say because logic tells me center, but a lot of teams and execs would tell you that center isn't as valuable as other positions. But I watched Mustipher get pushed around this year. I would upgrade at center. I think actually guard's a bigger need than tackle. I think Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum could be your 2 tackles. I really do. Now, Matt Nagy didn't play those guys enough, so we don't have a full scouting diagnosis, but I think those could be your tackles. So let me know, what is the biggest need on the offensive line? Let's go defense now. Defensive tackle, defensive line here, not edge rushers. We'll get to edge, outside linebacker in a second. Again, depends on what kind of scheme the Bears run, 3-4-4-3. Calais Campbell, he's a beast. Probably going to cost a lot of money, but, man, if you could add him somehow, that would be awesome. Solomon Thomas is more of an interior guy, as is Sheldon Richardson. Austin Jackson. Jaron Reed, if you want to go kind of quality, cheaper vet. He's really picked up his play the second half of the year for the Chiefs. I think that could be solid. Austin Johnson, a good run stopper with the Giants. Some names to keep in mind right there. Be sure you guys hit that subscribe button here at Chicago Bears Now. We'll have you guys covered with Bears free agency, draft rumors, more news and rumors, obviously around the coaching and GM search as we continue to kind of see that unfold. Subscribe. Just crossed 40,000 subs, trying to get to 50K as soon as possible. Okay, let's go to kind of that edge position, offense or outside linebacker, defensive end. Haason Reddick, he's been fantastic the last 2 years. Randy Gregory had a rough showing in the playoff game for Dallas, but a pretty good year. I think he probably stays with the Cowboys, but if you could get him on board, he's a really good pass rusher. And remember, when you're talking edge, you're probably not spending big on one unless you trade Robert Quinn and or Khalil Mack, so keep that in mind. Jadeveon Clowney, Von Miller, Chandler Jones, all quality veterans. Obviously, that would come down to money. Inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker types. Christian Kirksey, Kenny Young, Jawan Bentley. Obviously, you got Roquan Smith. Do you bring back Alec Ogletree? Do you think Danny Trevathan can bounce back next year? He was hurt most of this year. He hasn't, been that good since he got that contract anyway. He's definitely a cut candidate. So those are a couple of names to keep in mind as, your potential number 2 linebacker next to Roquan. Cornerback, obviously a position of need outside of Jalen Johnson. I hope Thomas Graham turns into a player, but again, shout out Matt Nagy for playing Artie Burns over him. J.C. Jackson, he's going to cost a ton. I mean, he just is. Can I get him for $15 million? I don't know if they're going to pay $20 for him. You got about $45 million cap space. Stephon Gilmore, could you get him on a 2-year deal at $10 million per? I'd be interested. Casey Hayward's more of a nickel, but maybe you bring him in there and then you kind of lock down that spot. Patrick Peterson, he was okay with the Vikings. He certainly isn't what he used to be. Charvarius Ward's had a nice bounce-back year for the Chiefs. He's not locked down, but he's a passable number 2 corner. He's certainly better than Kendall Vilder. So those are some names. I think corners a position in the draft to keep an eye on as well. Should the Bears pay top money for a top-tier corner? And by big top money, $15+ million. that's what J.C. Jackson, maybe even Gilmore could get. 1 for yes, 0 for no. If you can get J.C. Jackson for like 3 years and $45 million, I'd probably do it. He had 8 picks this year, guys. He's really, really good. Take a look at safety. Jessie Bates III. He's the best one out there. He's very good with Cincinnati. I know they want to bring him back. Marcus Williams with the Saints. He's a good player. How about Tyrann Mathieu? There's been not a ton of chatter between him and the Chiefs. Unclear if they're going to bring him back. Marcus May, who got injured in training camp. Maybe you could get him at a discount. Xavier Woods. I anticipate Eddie Jackson being here for at least 1 more year. And if that's the case, you got to get a good player next to him. Okay, 4 more guys because we're at 46, so I kind of did some miscellaneous guys. Cordero Patterson, an all-purpose player. You guys know him well, running back, receiver, kick returner. He can do it all. Jalen Richard, he's kind of a third down scat back who can catch the ball really well. He can be a kick returner also. And then, hey, the new coach may value fullback. Alec Ingold, Michael Burton, 2 of the better ones in the NFL, are both hitting free agency. Ingold with the Raiders and then Burton with the Chiefs. So you add it all up. That's 50 free agent targets for the Chicago Bears. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at HGramNFL. It's at HGramNFL. More Bears, Nuggets, news, rumors, updates. You can DM me, ask me some questions as well. We will keep you guys up to date with everything surrounding the Bears, both here on this channel and on Instagram.